I'm not sure why nobody wants to speak up about this, but I guess I'll be the one to do it. There is a serious shortage of attractive, eligible, mentally stable, emotionally available men. We need to get a search party together, figure out what has happened, where have they gone, and what do we do about this? Because it's a problem.
Look, I have said this before and I will say it again. There is no shortage of good men. It is simply that you don't see the men that are good men in your life as dateable, but they're probably good friends. Like they're probably in your friend zone. And then for the good men that aren't in your life, it is because they're not looking to date. They probably spent far too long in a relationship that took advantage of their goodness. Those men are either working, they're either at home, or they're just hanging out with friends or doing some sort of hobby in seclusion.
Absolutely right. Why waste time on another hysteric who, instead of contributing to a quality relationship, only demands various benefits for herself? She's not a woman. She's a child. Moreover, having such a child would definitely make it harder to create a real family with children.
Okay, the best defense against child support is usually always going to be going after court-ordered overnight time sharing with the kids. Some people call it visitation, some people call it custody, but at the end of the day, it means that your kids are literally spending the night at your house a certain number of times each year. This is because in most places, child support is calculated based on the income of the parents, some other types of expenses, but mainly how many overnights the kids spend with each parent. That's why you hear some people talking about, I want 50-50 or I want 60-40. It's because they're counting the yearly overnights with the kids for calculating child support. Now, one thing a lot of people miss is that having your kids with you 50% of the time is really expensive to feed and clothe them. So a lot of times you get out cheaper by just paying the child support. But because it's so important, we're going to make a lot more videos on it.
Here are the results of the paternity test.
But what the fuck? Come on, dog. Come on, dog.
What?
Come on, bro.
What you doing all that for?
Read this paper. What the fuck this say?
What you mean? What?
Read what that say right there.
They need to do this over.
Negative. I'm not the father. I'm not the father. I ain't paying no more child support.
They need to do this over.
I ain't paying no more child support, dog. I swear to God, I already knew it, bro. Is everything okay?
Oh yes, and after that, women will still demand something. He paid child support for 8 months for someone else's child, a burden unjustly placed on him. But as we see, she doesn't care. She doesn't believe the results. Yet she firmly believes that after sleeping with various guys 3 times a week, this man is the father of her child.
I don't give about privacy. Check his phone, check his laptop, check his computer, his work computer, his tablet. Check it all.
You need to be absolutely sure. And I will tell you why I advocate for this. 10 years ago, I was engaged to a man who, for the entire year that we were engaged, was giving me all of the signs that he was hiding something. I knew deep down in my gut that this man was cheating on me, but I had no evidence of it. The one thing I hadn't done, though, was I hadn't checked his phone. Now, I had the password to his phone, and I know in his mind he thought that by giving me the password that was somehow making him look more trustworthy, but he had this phone glued to his body like it was an organ. And when we first met, that phone used to go off constantly. I always heard texts come through, I always heard phone calls come through, his Snapchats, whatever. But all of a sudden, like maybe a month after we were together, he had silenced everything on his phone. I never heard any notifications come through. Then he started hiding his phone under the pillow at night. Now, when I go to sleep at night, my phone's on the charger, but he always had his phone under the pillow. But then Super Bowl Sunday comes around, and his team that he bet on won, so he got completely wasted and knocked the hell out in bed and had no idea that I had pulled that phone out from under the pillow. So I go through the phone, and he thought he was smart. He had deleted all the text messages and all of the pictures and video on his phone itself, but what he forgot about was the cloud. So I went through the cloud, and guess what I found? I found hundreds of photos and videos of him with multiple women. I probably counted, I think, over 20 at that point, but I'm sure, based on the information I later got, that he had cheated on me with over 50, maybe 100. Now, imagine if I hadn't trusted my instincts.
If you enjoyed this video, I promise you'll enjoy this next video. I will see you there.
How did I represent myself and get off child support? I get asked this question every single day, and it's simple. Everything. I used everything that they filed against me, and I used it against them. The order was signed by an attorney, not a judge. Violation of due process. It was signed by the deputy clerk, not the county clerk. Unlawful. The lien that they put on my name, they didn't renew it after the 10 years. Therefore, it was unenforceable. Their own rules and procedures. The proof of service was invalid. They said that they allegedly served me on a day, which I proved in court that the house was vacant on that day. I subpoenaed Los Angeles Department of Water and Power to testify on my behalf. Yes, I made Los Angeles County testify against Los Angeles County. Everything was used. Nothing was off of the table.
He knows how to get what he wants. Well done, man. That's exactly how you should protect your rights. Now let's look at another story.
How many children do you have, Miss Bussey?
2.
How old are they? 12?
12, and I have a 9-month-old.
2 kids with such an age gap, 12 years, and the youngest is just 9 months old. Life clearly doesn't stand still, but this kind of instability is hardly ideal for the children.
And who's the father of the 9-month-old?
It's a friend of mine.
Is that this gentleman?
No.
Who is this gentleman?
This is my boyfriend.
So your boyfriend is not the father of the 9-month-old?
No, he is not.
The boyfriend and the child aren't connected. Living with one guy while the child belongs to another, that's not exactly an easy situation. And something clearly went wrong here.
Not.
Did the boy always live with his mother?
Yes, he did, up till recently, yes.
Up until when?
Up until November is when she moved out of her house.
You were living with your son in whose house?
It was my friend that is the father of my 9-month-old and his now ex-wife.
So you were living with a couple who were friends?
Yes, I was friends with him.
And then you moved in with he and his wife?
Yes.
And how long did you live there?
I lived there, it was about a year and a half.
And I assume you left there because you were pregnant?
No, I left there because I started getting threatening emails that were threatening my life.
From his wife?
We don't know who they were from. They were in anonymous emails.
But you would assume they were from his wife?
Yeah, I'd assume, but there's been no proof.
Life-threatening emails drove her out of the house. But why does it feel like more of an excuse than an actual danger? There's something deeper behind all this drama. And so, instead of taking control of her life and facing the issues, she's running, hiding behind fear. Not many people will believe those emails were just a coincidence. It seems more like she's running away from the consequences of her own choices.
So you moved out. Where did you go?
I moved in with my boyfriend.
He was not her boyfriend at the time.
If you're going to shout, you're going to leave. Do you understand? So you moved out of the house.
Yes.
And you moved in with the boyfriend.
Yes.
And his wife.
Now you can put her out.
I'm sorry. Okay.
You moved in with your boyfriend?
Correct.
How far away did he live from where you had been living?
Quite a ways. I moved from, it was Council Bluffs, Iowa to like West Omaha.
Your son is 12 years old.
Yes.
What did you do about his school?
We still transported him to his school.
Is what you're telling me you moved with your son to your boyfriend's house?
Yes.
And you took your son with you and transported him to and from school?
Yes, that is correct.
She moved in with her new boyfriend, child in tow, a quick fix to her problems. But can this really be the start of something stable?
Correct.
Is that correct?
To the point, I have no idea. I mean, it was a 10-day time, and I wanted him to come live with me at the time, and that seemed to be a last option. But I told her...
You're getting ahead of yourself, because that's not what you wrote in your complaint. In your complaint, what you said was she left the boy alone. At least it was my impression that she left him at the house of this couple with whom she had been living.
No, I'm sorry. She sent him to live with some other friends of hers that...
Who?
I can't seem to remember the names. Chelsea, one of her friends.
Is that when she moved out of the house?
Besides the little time that Austin did stay with her, yes. She was moving him around from my sister-in-law's to me sometimes to her friend Chelsea. Now,
Why?
Because I was getting these threatening emails that were threatening my life, and I was trying to protect my son from being around that.
Okay, well, that's a very good idea. Then he should go and live with his father.
Your Honor?
Shh.
I'm sorry.
Just a second. Now, this case is all about an overpayment of child support. He came to live with his father on what date?
It was November the 18th.
The son moved in with his father. Finally, something logical in this story. But why only now?
And is he still there?
Yes, he is still there.
And did you receive any child support from Mr. McGlynn after November 18th?
Yes, I did.
How much?
I received it weekly from that following week until now.
Did you finally stop the order?
I did. It took some time, though.
How many weeks did you pay when your son was with you?
At least 10.
December, January, that's 8. 2 weeks in November, that's 10. Okay, that's at least 10 weeks.
Yes.
She kept receiving child support even though the son was living with his father. The money keeps coming, but what does that say about her honesty and care for the child?
Yes.
Why do you think you're entitled to that money? You were never married, right?
No, we were not.
Okay, so this is just child support that he pays.
That is correct.
Well, why do you think you're entitled to this money?
The whole reason that he went with his father was I was getting these threatening.
I heard about the threatening emails. Well, then that's a very good idea, because if you were living with a couple that were friends of yours and you got pregnant by the husband and had to move out, I would say that you should do everything possible to protect your 12-year-old. And then moving out, and evidently you had a boyfriend at the same time, now you're with the boyfriend, doesn't sound very stable.
She sent the son to live with his father to protect him from the threats. Seems like the right decision, but why does it feel like yet another attempt to avoid responsibility?
To me, we're only talking about why you think you're entitled to $75 a week child support when the child was living with his father.
Well, he had time to get it shut off, and it wasn't until just recently that he went ahead and did that.
The government works very, very slowly. Look at Congress. And the lower you get, the slower they work. So if you say, boys with me, could you stop the payments? Sure. Eventually they get stuck, because it comes right out of your check, I assume.
Comes right out of my check every week.
$750, judgment for the plaintiff.
$750. It feels like a small price to pay for all the drama and emotional storms that have unfolded in this story. What do you think?
Top 3 mistakes to avoid at your child support hearing. Number 1, not doing discovery and bringing documents with you. You always do discovery demands to get the other parent's financial information. You come armed with that. Number 2, don't get caught up spending your whole hearing talking about how you bought diapers and you gave her a little bit of cash here and there. You're going to waste a lot of valuable hearing time, and it's not going to really get you as far as you need it to. Number 3, don't go to court without knowing exactly what's going to happen. I made a 30-minute video on this channel about what to expect in your child support hearing. Check it out. You need to learn child support? Subscribe to this channel. Check out my other videos for more.
The child support payments, did you ever get those lowered? Because I know at some point it was the whole thing, like $20K a month.
I've never paid $20,000 a month in my life. It's what she's asking for.
That's what she was asking for. Got it.
Without realizing that there's no child on any level that needs $20,000 in Atlanta.
Right.
Truth be told is she makes about $160,000 a year herself. I do really well for myself. If you get into the actual needs of the child, our daughter will never be without. So if you're gonna leave me, and you and your lawyers are now trying to take my life with you. There's no alimony. We had a prenup. I'm confused as a mother. We had a baby, and we're sharing this baby, so let's just make sure the baby is okay.
Even rich and famous people face the same problems as ordinary people. Wealthy men are still targeted for their money under the guise of single motherhood and the plight of an unfortunate woman. I think having a well-drafted prenuptial agreement and, if necessary, a paternity test is the right decision to avoid ruining your life.